Welcome back to the halftime show here on K105. It's time for another edition of our Cougar Conversations look through the years. And today we are joined by country music star and Caneyville native, Mr. Elvie Shane. Appreciate you taking the time. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me, man.
When did you start singing?
Oh, Lord. A week after I was born, probably. I was getting on everybody's nerves by kindergarten, singing all the time. I was getting in trouble in class for it. Probably really, though, when I probably was about 6 or 7 years old, my brother had sang a song in church. I went to church at Walnut Grove Missionary Baptist in Caneyville, and he had an accident, or was in an accident when he was about 13 years old, and I took over singing one of his songs called "Victory Is Sweet," and that was like my first introduction into singing in front of people. Anyway,
was there a moment in your career where, whether it was a song coming out or a performance that you did, where it kind of set into you of like, wow, like I can do this as a career? Was there a moment?
As a career, I can't really remember any specific time. I just remember, the first time I sang in front of people by myself was that song at church. I really loved that. And then in grade school, I was part of one of the first chorus programs that Caneyville Elementary ever had, and I got to sing a little solo at the Christmas tree lighting there. And I remember that, loving that. And then on through high school, being in bands with my friends over in Breckenridge County and stuff. It all kind of just accumulated over time.
Has there been a musician that you've performed with or met or something that you kind of had to like pinch yourself like, oh, am I really like with this person? Has there been anybody like that for you?
The number would actually be my biggest hero musically as well, and that was Steve Earle. I was introduced to him through some friends here in Nashville. I got to write a song with him. Actually recorded a song with him. We've never put it out, but got his phone number. It's cool, man. Like that's probably that was the coolest. I got to meet my number one hero.
When's this song coming out then? Is that just like,
I don't know that it ever will. We did it, and then we weren't really happy with the way it turned out. So we've talked about doing something else down the line. Just if I'm gonna put a song out with my hero, I want both of us to be, very happy with it.
What was that like though, when you sat down and got to record a song with somebody like that?
Oh man, I wish I could tell you the full story of how that morning went, but no, Steve is super friendly. He's a champion for the working class people. I mean, he dedicated himself one time to this one record called The Ghosts of West Virginia. He went and stayed with these families in this town where there was a mining accident, and he learned about the victims and their families and the struggles they were going through. He went and spoke to Congress about it. He got really involved in these projects, as I found out, he did every project. I thought those songs were all about Steve when I was growing up, and when I found out they weren't, I was at first disappointed. But then I discovered that he found characters that he was really attracted to in some way, and he told their story as best as he could through his music. And after learning that, that's kind of the approach that I took with the record Damascus.
I know you had said too that one of the lines or the mentalities that you've also taken after is Chris Stapleton. I know he said that his biggest thing is that he just wants to try to tell the truth as loud as he can when he's sick. How do you do that?
I don't know, man. I seen somebody right after Chris blew up. I seen somebody run up to him on stage with a microphone and a camera and just like throw it in his face. And Chris was kind of taken aback, and he was like, "Man, Chris, how do you do this?" And he just said, "I'm just trying to tell the truth as loud as I can." That just stuck with me. I'm always just trying to tell the truth and make it rhyme. And sometimes making it rhyme is the hardest part.
How did Grayson County shape you as a man and a musician? And that's probably a loaded question for you.
Oh man. I mean, I feel like Caneyville just was kind of 10 years behind the rest of the world, and in great ways though, like still holding on to these values that were established, a lot of the great values that were established early on that, we've kind of faltered and failed on in recent years. And there's certain characters that were really instrumental in me being who I am. And, first and foremost, my mom and dad. My siblings have all turned out to be great people and hard workers. And, Harold Higgs from Caneyville, Tinker 1 and Tinker 2. Everybody there will know who that is. But I was just around all these hardworking blue collar folks. And I would sit at the coffee shop with my dad on Saturday mornings and listen to all the the old war stories and everything. And I don't know. I felt like after I left, I couldn't wait to get out. But then after I left, I was like, dang, man, I'm really missing what built me. And I was so proud that my hometown, they put the signs up for me around town and everything. It was such a cool thing for them to do and dedicate a day to me and everything, which ended up being my brother's birthday. Sorry, Clinton. But
it took its day from him.
They just, Grayson County taught me to love people that work hard, and it also taught me a lot of empathy for people that are going through a hard time. We got a lot of people in our community who are struggling, and I want to represent them as best as possible too. I've learned not to judge as much, and I've been through some things myself too, and so there's a lot of people that need our help, and right now some of those people are kids. They need something to be proud of and something to do in our community, and that's part of the skate park project that we're working on right now. So
Grayson County schools, though, you mentioned Caneyville Elementary. Did you have a favorite teacher or some teachers that really helped mold you?
Oh man, you're going to get me in a lot of trouble here. Man, there's so many. Mr. Purcell was my first principal. Mr. O, we called him, who's my first music teacher. Miss Bivens, Miss Dixon, Miss Beatty, Miss Powell, which is Harold Higgs's daughter. Oh man, there were so many. I would hate to leave anybody out, and I know I'm leaving some out right now. So Miss Blevins. Oh my gosh, so many. I could go on and name so many, but at the time, I was giving them a hard time, and they were giving me a hard time back, and I didn't realize how valuable these people were until I got out here in the world. And I think with me particularly, music teachers and English teachers stood out the most, because that's just what I was interested in, was writing and music.
You've come back a couple of times and spoken to students here in Grayson County. Why is that important? And what is kind of your message to them when you speak?
Like a lot of people who grew up there, I grew up wanting to leave, and there just wasn't a whole lot to do. And I know things have gotten worse in some aspects and things have gotten better in some aspects, but it took me a long time to realize that I could come from where I come from and go and chase after what I wanted to do. And I just want kids to realize, that they're not necessarily stuck, whether they decide to stay there or they decide to leave. You're never stuck. You just got to work hard, and you got to know what you're good at, and you got to drop a little bit of the ego and keep people around you who are good at things that you're not good at, to help you get to where you're going. And it's all a team effort in the end. It takes a village no matter what you do. But whether you decide to work a 9-to-5 life and that's what you want to do, you can do that and you can be successful. You can go out and start your own business. Can be successful. It doesn't matter where you come from. Whether it's city, state, the home, the house, the history, the family situation, you can prevail if you just put your head down and do the work. And I want kids to know that there's a great life out there to live.
One of my favorite things that I know we've done, I've been here in Grayson County now for about 7 years. And one of the favorite projects that we've worked on was traffic stop karaoke with you and Sheriff Chaffins.
Yeah, that was cool.
Was that as much fun to do as it was to watch and put together?
I mean, it was a lot more fun riding in the front of the cop car than it was in the back, and oh man. And Norman, he's just been great. I love that guy to death. And, there's been a lot of cops that have been good to me there in Grayson County. That I also, before I left Grayson County, I'd acquired close to 20 or more tickets of some sort, so lost my license a couple of times, but that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And, I'm glad to know that there's I've came in contact with a few officers that are working the area, and just to hear how much the ones that I've talked to, they care about the things that are going on in our community, and the youth and the drugs. And I know there's a lot of bad, but there are people in law enforcement there that really care, and they don't want to see these people just be thrown in a cell for the rest of their life, and they want to be there to help. And I think sometimes it's intimidating to be in a bad situation and think that there's people out there on the opposite side of the law that care and want to see you do good, but there are.
The Twin Lakes Skatepark Project, I know, is something, and it might have even been in that video, and it might have been something that happened off air, or maybe it was because was around when you were doing that. You asked some questions to Norman about that, I remember. And he had said, it's kind of there's some people working on trying to bring that skate park back there at Logston Valley Park.
Yeah.
This concert is coming up on October the 12th. Why is this important for you to get involved with the skate park specifically?
I remember growing up and becoming interested in skating myself, and we would go skate, just street around Caneyville, Litchfield, Clarkson. We'd tear stuff up. People never really liked that. And skating and BMXing and rollerblading kind of got a bad rep over, certain TV shows and stuff that were going on when I was younger. There just wasn't a whole lot for us to do as kids, though, in the community. And then we got that first skate park when I was in middle school. And I remember just going over there the first time, and I was like, I can't believe that people in our community, the older generations of our community thought of us enough to give us this thing. And we were so proud of it. And we'd go over there and we'd have fun, and we learned a lot about, how to love and how to fight and how to, and everything else. But we got to figure it out on our own terms. And I think it's just an important thing for kids, to have that community, or that sense of community, and something to be proud of within their community. And also just to, some kids may have a rough time at home, and that gives them an escape to be able to go to the skate park and hang out with friends and make new friends, and, just learn a little bit of about life through people who are going through it the same way they are.
I know this concert's coming up on October the 12th, just right there by where the skate park is in Logston Valley Park. What do you know about it, and what can you tell people about October 12th?
I know that I am excited to be part of it. I've got my buddy Chandler Brown coming to play with us. There's going to be some other openers, local people. I know, that there's been a couple people that have reached out to me that have been very concerned over the last couple of years of really giving the community a great place for these kids to call home, who love to do this type of thing. Anthony Powell was one of the first that reached out to me. Me and Anthony used to skate together when I was a kid. And then Casey Count, I've got to say, I'm just so proud of that dude and the amount of work that he has put in. All the back end work and the finding out about grants and reaching out to Tony Hawk's Foundation and everything. He's just put so many hours into this project, and other people that have became involved throughout the government within the city, and awarding us, the space to put this park when we get things going. And, I think we need to raise about $25,000 hopefully with this show. And I know that Casey's put in the work to make that happen. If we can just get people to buy the tickets and show up, and we've tried to price things, as cheap as possible, and still be able to reach our goals. So yeah, it's like I said, it takes a village, and there's a lot of people that I'm not mentioning here. And sorry, it's hard to keep all the names straight, but Casey's the guy that I've spoke with the most, and just really proud of the effort that, once again, a law enforcement officer, he's a state trooper, and usually cops and skateboarders and bikers and, rollerbladers, that's not the relationship that you would suspect, but he really cares.
That Twin Lakes Skatepark Project, you can purchase tickets online on their website. It's the easiest way to do it for you. And my last question for you, Elvie, is, what's next for you? What's coming up in the future that we need to look forward to here in Grayson County?
Just got the rest of the year, that being one of them. We're playing Manchester Music Hall in Lexington, Kentucky for it's to raise money for Children's Cardiac Hospital. I can't remember exactly which one. But October 25th, Lexington, Manchester Music Hall. Last year we did it at the Burl in Lexington, and we raised $30,000. We've got a bigger venue this year, hoping to raise even more money. So if anybody wants to come up and check that out, that's for a good cause as well. And then as of next year, I'm not really sure yet what's going on. We're starting to book shows and just hoping to watch this thing grow. You know, I definitely need the help of people. If the best way people can help me right now is to follow on social media at Elvie Shane Music, just about everywhere on social media, and, you know, buy some t-shirts here and there, come to shows, and let's just grow this thing together.
I'm looking forward to joining the ride from our own part here in Grayson County. Appreciate you taking the time for us, and we look forward to the concert there on October the 12th.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for helping us promote.
That is Elvie Shane, and we'll get back here to the football action as this has been the Cougar Conversations on K105.